That looks good for everybody. Great. So this is my landing page or my home page as well. I'm going to share my developmental course. You can see I've been working on a couple. I got a little overexcited. So when I finished my pediatric course, I started to work on another one. I teach nutrition and I teach public health. So the course that I spent the most time on and that I thought I wanted to share is this pediatric course. So similar to what Jay did, I did the same thing. I did that like the banner of welcome to the course, and it will have the student's name. And I played around with some of the graphics. You can change them, and maybe every semester. There's something to me that's kind of like hidden, and I want to know more about my main banner. So sure, there's a child there. There's a nurse that we see part of. There's a inpatient unit. But is a little bit of mystery there. So I wanted to almost like, I want people to say, I'm joining this course. I want to learn more. Like, how can I open that window there a little bit more? And when then I was choosing my pictures, I tried to think of it as I was on a pediatric ward. Like I didn't necessarily want to say, here's some pictures of hearts. This is the cardiac lecture. I wanted it to be, this is a bright and happy place. So how would I want that pediatric ward decorated? So then my pictures, I chose usually children in some sense of, being happy. I chose some images of flowers. So you might choose something like that as well. So I had some rhyme or reason of why I chose those images. Now, my department, nursing, we have undergraduate, graduate, and we have a doctoral program. We don't have a template. At some point, it would be interesting, I think, to think about and discuss with my colleagues. Does the undergraduate team want to have something that's a template so they're all looking similar? What I hope to do is, at least for the courses that I teach, sorry if you can hear that. I'm obviously Hunter Bellevue School of Nursing. We're right next to Bellevue, so sometimes you hear the outside noise. I'm trying to set up every course that I do similar. So my students will have me for a nutrition course in the fall, then they'll have me for this pediatric course in the spring, and in the fall, again, the following year, public health. So at least they'll get used to, okay, this is the way Dr. McCabe sets up her courses. I set them up a few things, and this might just give you some ideas of what you might think about for yours. I wanted to have my syllabus and course outline in its own section. Some things with key dates, and that might get into the weeds a little bit, but I added their link to the calendar. So your students will get announcements like this is due, this is coming up. So I found that that also very helpful, something I didn't use in Blackboard as much. The meet your professor is just some information about me. And, you can see here on the side, that's some information. What I liked about that, I'll show you that for a second. It has, yeah, just some information about me. And what I also did on there, let's see if click on that one more time. I like that the Center of Teach and Learn, they have a template for you to follow here. So you can use that. You have a professor bio that you can put in there, your email. I put my office hours, and then I link them to my Google Scholar page. I don't like try to, push it down the students, all the things I'm doing, but in case they're curious, that gets updated and they can see, oh, this is Dr. McCabe's research. These are some things that she's working on. It helps when they're looking for research assistant positions and things like that. So I thought that was kind of fun to include there. This next section, I don't know how many of this works for you, but I have two certificates that students have to complete, and these do have due dates, but because this is a spring course, I usually open it up, say like second week in January, third week, but the semester doesn't start for a couple weeks. So what's nice about this is I send an announcement out. I tell these students, these are things that will take anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. While you can wait and do them in the semester, by all means, get a jump on it and complete them. These, when mandated reporter is a good one to show. There's a couple things right away. I can link this so it takes them right to the New York State site. I learned how to do that. That's something you can learn. They just click right on there. They go right to the site. And then the requirement after they do it, my printer ran out of ink when I was printing this, but I wanted to show the student, this is what you actually have to submit so that I know you completed it. You get a certificate at the end. I want you to upload, and this is a pass fail, but this is an assignment that they do. This is also a great thing for nurses because this is something they need for their license. So it's also just not busy work. This is something they can save and submit. So that's, go back. I always like to go back to, we all have different ways of how we go back and forth. Immunization model, very, very similar. And then I'll give you an overview of how I chose to set up my classes. I do it week to week. I have chosen to title those. I noticed Jaya did hers by date. Of course, you can do that. I wanted to give them a sense of this is what we're covering this week. So first week, it's going to be an introduction to the course. And then we're moving on to development. Then we're doing respiratory, et cetera. It goes through cardiac, so they can look through. Even a week like week 5 is exam. I don't actually usually hold class after my exam. There's projects that they can work on, but that it has its own widget. It has its own category, so no one's like, "What happened to week 5?" It's there. I don't know how many other people this affects, but I'm going to show you something else that's maybe unique to nursing, especially if you teach a clinical course. So in this clinical course, I teach the didactic portion. There are also people who come into this course because they are clinical instructors. So they need to come in and borrow. So I give them their own widget. And I imagine that I'm going to have to explain to them how this is going to work because now we're sharing some space here. So the person teaching their clinical information, they can go in here and they're going to tell the students, that's where I want you to put your care plans, there's templates on here, developmental assessment. So I envision that I'll have to work with my team, the adjuncts that work with me in this course, but it needs to be part of this class. So a lot of us have to get used to other people coming in and out of the course. The same thing, I have an instructor who comes in and does a lab with them. So with the lab materials, the same thing. He's going to be putting things in there that they have to do, measuring head circumference, growth charts. Now, a lot of this, you have to see this little symbol over here. I have them hidden for now because I don't know. I don't want the course to all of a sudden open and it's not ready. So I am a person that tends to hide things. Couple other things without getting too into the weeds, but I think it's kind of cool. I'm going to show you my respiratory week. So each week, what I do, and all of them follow a similar pattern, I go in and I say, this is what we're covering, emergency and respiratory. I reiterate again, these are the chapters I want you to read. This is also on my course outline. Every week I have the PowerPoints are first. So that's, and then I won't play this for you because it's really creepy. But under here, I'll just show you the picture of it. What we did was I wanted students to practice listening to lung sounds. So I was able to put these all on one page. I promise you I won't play them because they're creepy. But the students can then listen. Oh, we talked about wheezing. We talked about asthma this week. Here's a short 1-minute video on wheezing. This is what it sounds like. So that was fun. And then one other thing that I wanted to share, I know, and then I was supposed to finish 12:30. I didn't even think I would go over. I'm just going to show you my grade book really quickly. And again, this is something you learn. Don't be like, oh, what did she do? I can't. Just so you get a sense. So manage grades. I took all my assignments, and these are some outside the course assignments. So I will have to go in and input grades. That's what that means. Clinical clearance. Just these are those modules I was showing you, their exams. I have them all hidden now because I'm a person that likes to put in all my grades and then release them at one time. So I don't like to release grades slowly, but that, of course, that's a choice for you. How I weighted them was on a scale of 100. And this was something I learned pretty quickly. I had to play around with a little bit. And then one last thing, kind of in the weeds, but I think it's a really cool thing. In nursing, they often do assignments like somewhere else. And usually they're pass fail, but they have to get them done. Most students get 100 on them. They have a certain amount of time to do them. What Blackboard doesn't have and Brightspace does, especially if you have 150 people in your class, and I won't go through, but what you can do is there's a way for you to, and it's very simple. You just go in and I can show you here. I want to enter grades and say, I'm going to do this assignment. There's a way for me to click and I can assign everybody the same grade, and it populates everything at one time, which is a game saver for me when I have 130 to 150 students. So that's my pediatric course in a nutshell. I just thought I, would share some of the things that I did and I learned, and just be patient with yourself when you're learning this. There's an art to it, there's a science to it, and the Center for Teaching Learning is ACERT is so helpful in supporting us.